Hi viewers, welcome to the YohYoh Media Square Career Builder. Today we have Dr. Aravind with us, who is an IIMA graduate and who is with Syngenta Foundation right now. Basically, he's a veterinary graduate and he has done a lot of things before getting into IIMA, and after IIMA is with Syngenta Foundation and helping a lot of farmers, and they have organized a lot of programs in helping farmers and their ecosystems. So I will talk to him and I will get a lot of knowledge, question and answers to you people. It helps your career building, job building. Why should I choose this? How can I develop my career? Welcome, Aravind.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to reach out.
So right now you are with Syngenta Foundation.
Yes.
Yeah. What you do daily and what you have been doing for last 4 or 5 years with Syngenta Foundation? Can you please brief us?
Yeah, I have been with Syngenta Foundation close to 5 years. Syngenta Foundation majorly works with a single motto that farmers' income has to be better than this. So we work with the metric that delta income has to be improved for the farmer. How do we do this? We do with a program called Agri Entrepreneur Program. Agri Entrepreneur Program identifies a local resourceful youth who has a bent of entrepreneurship and put him under training for close to 45 days, and he is mentored for 2 years through a mentor who in turn serves the farmers on various things. For example, getting quality inputs, advisory, how to take the produce to the market, and also connecting him to the local bank for credit needs. There has a lot of factors, synergies has to be brought in together to do this. For example, to supply quality input to the farmer, we need to bring in multiple input companies who have quality products to it. So we connect this entrepreneur to the input companies, seeds, pesticides and fertilizers. On the other hand, to get good realized price for the farmers, we need to bring in a lot of organized, well-known marketing companies, agri-produce off-take companies. For example, Big Basket. We work with Big Basket. We work with Mother Dairy. We work with NEML. So we work with various companies. And we have to build entire training infrastructure. So these are the various factors we do across 9 states right now in India. And expecting to start our activities in 12 states. Before that, I used to work with a very innovative insurance program in Syngenta Foundation, which is called germination guarantee. If someone buys a seed and unable to get germination, a hybrid seed costs really high for a tribal farmer. So what we used to do is we used to offer him germination guarantee. If he pays the premium to us as an insurance cover, we actually offer him insurance. If the germination doesn't happen, he will get back his entire seed cost, and thus it helps him to go for sowing again to take another crop. He need not look out for funds or debt or anything again. This is how we have been doing for the last 5 years in India.
Great. So you say it's a more of farmer helping program in Syngenta. Apart from these programs, what are the management things you manage around in the company, talking to your hierarchy, to your superior officials, or how do you manage the team? What are the regular tasks you do there? Okay,
I presently run the operations for the company as head of operations. So when you actually doing an operation job, you have to deal with people, you have to deal with the product, and you have to deal with the customers or stakeholders or who is actually getting impacted. So these 3 things is what I take care on a day-to-day basis. People, there are close to 1 or 2 people working in the Syngenta Foundation today who directly or indirectly reports to me. There will be various issues. So whatever affecting their life will also be part of your organization, in part of your work profile. I try to keep in touch with them on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis to understand what they are doing for the company. At times, in an informal get-togethers, understanding how their families are doing, how are they doing, and various things. These 1 or 2 people come from various backgrounds. some from communications. Organization is a complex, it's more like a complex factory. Some look after communications, some look after actually going and meeting the farmer, some look after dealing with companies on a day-to-day basis, that is partner linkages. And I report to executive director, who actually does a lot of fundraising and keep the organization moving with fuel. Funds and budgets are like fuel to the organization. On one aspect, we deal with all of this with people within the organization. Then the product would be needing a lot of improvement. So once you hit the market, you go to the market with a product. For example, in our case, agri entrepreneurs, we bring a lot of product attributes to that program. How the customer is taking it. Do we need to make changes? For example, 100 entrepreneurs are trained. There is a feedback coming. This particular module of the program is not right. We need to go back, work on it, make the product more interesting, take it. At the same time, the second lever to be understood is how the finances work for the product. Are we overshooting budgets? Are the budgets are underspending? Are efficiently spent? So these are all the things related to the product or agri entrepreneurs. Third thing, how the customer is interacting with the product. If customer is not ready to take the product or not ready to interact with the organization, that means we are heading towards a failure. Maybe it looks like short-term success, but in the long term it heads to a failure. So we deal with the customer, we try to get the insights for the customer. I go on to the ground, I travel 15 days a month, understanding how exactly customers are feeling with this product, or interacting with this agri entrepreneur, interacting with this input supplier, how they are assembling. Is there an insight? What is the mood? So for example, there is a different mood after demonetization. There is a different mood after Raitu Bharosa or farmer subsidy schemes given by the government. How is it going to impact the product? What are the things we need to communicate to them? So all these things has to be looked into. For any important leader in any organization, I would suggest, or what I am doing is dealing with people, dealing with customers, people inside the organization, customers, and how product is doing.
Fine. So depending upon this job responsibility tasks, you need to assign a lot of things to your juniors or employees. Exactly. And you will face a lot of complicated issues, and you have to report it to your superior executive director. Yeah. So think that you have a great job for next 2 months, and you have allocated few things to your employees, and they are not up to the mark, they are not achieving it, they are postponing it, and they don't have the enthusiasm. So with your management degree and with your experience, how do you manage them well to get the job done?
Thank you. So this is one important aspect in any organization. Are the people assigned for the job have right skill sets? That's one signal coming out of your question. And second, if not, how will we deal with it? Or is it a problem of attitude? So for everything, the how I learned from my MBA and later implementing is, I assign a task, not really a fully important task, but it needs certain skill sets to a person to test whether he can do this kind of activities or initiatives for the company or not. Once this testing phase, which we call piloting, is over, we really assign him that task to do it further. Second thing, it's very important to give people the chance to take decisions. A lot of times we assign tasks but keep the decision making process completely in our hands. So I keep on telling people that I'm okay with you taking the decisions. I'm not necessary that I have to come in at every point and take the decision. Third thing, there has to be certain boundaries to it. They can't cross the boundaries and take decisions. Third thing, we have to accept mistakes. And what we are dealing with is people. They come with their own cultural backgrounds, cultural context. What MBA has done to me at a place like IIM Ahmedabad is understanding various cultures, understanding how people interact with other people. In any place, there will not be same intellectual capability. There will be no average, no mean, no median. People come from different backgrounds, and it's our responsibility as a leader to actually organize their energies, improve their skill sets, and make sure that their skill sets are matching with their job profiles.
So Aravind been briefing us about his Syngenta experiences, managing his employees, how best he can get the job done. Now we'll get back to his IIMA experiences. What is his experience in the college? What is the fun he had? And what is the difference between the IIM campuses and the normal MBA college campuses? What make them to get such big salaries, fat salaries? And what makes them to achieve a lot of startups, businesses? Why can't a normal MBA graduate? Though they are doing it, but still the percentage of achievement is more. So we'll ask Aravind all about this. And Aravind, you can brief us the IIM campus, fun activities, networking, how do we develop all these things?
Glad that you have asked me that question. So I have been out of campus for 5 years now. And one thing I really cherish is the experiences, the people I met there, and some of the real visionaries I met there. For example, I came from a very humble background. My father was from a very small town, a coal mining town. And when I went to campus, I have met a lot of people. Around bigger proportion is from IITs and from metro cities, and who have been constantly have a proper background to do bigger things, scale up things, and interacting with them, and they have been all humble. The most important thing is, even coming from such a high profile backgrounds, I'm from a rural background, being a veterinary doctor. The first thing I discovered is I also can add some value to the classroom discussions. So you go with a lot of inferiority complex. The institution like IIMA with its bigger infrastructure, the kind of stalwarts you get to see. For example, the marketing book has been written by a professor at IIM Ahmedabad. The one who built close to 100,000 entrepreneurs, a great innovation and incubation center, is teaching at IIM Ahmedabad. These are the kind of people you meet. RBI Deputy Governor is a professor at IIM Ahmedabad. Raghuram Rajan, RBI Governor, is a student of IIM Ahmedabad. And we can go on and on, and you are getting to interact with them on a day-to-day basis. It's very difficult to digest in the start what they are saying. Once you get into the rhythm, you understand where the world is moving. You actually interact with your close friends. The close friends become who is going to lead RBI one day, who is going to become the next Harsha Bogle. The varied interests they came from, and the variety of thoughts they bring to the table, it all make you feel humble. At the same time, you cherish it for the rest of your life.
So Aravind has briefed us the campus life, what it is and how it was. And basically, Aravind is from a small district, Khammam of Telangana, and he has studied in a Singareni government school, and small family. And as you know that he did his veterinary graduation, then he moved into IIM, and then he's with the Syngenta, and he's with us today, right now here. So I'll ask him, what made him to get into IIM? How did he get into IIMA? And most influenced people in his life? Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it has been a very interesting journey if I look back. I joined as a veterinary doctor in Khammam district, a place called Konijerla. And the same time, there were different disturbances happening, and sarpanches were dismissed. I became a special officer for Gram Panchayats, and I have been working with a division office, how the procurement happens, everything I used to see. And I used to figure out one interesting thing. There is a lot of inefficiencies in the society. Not that someone wants to breed them, it just happens that way. And I have few very interesting people who have influenced me, whether through books or videos or when I went places. For example, I went to Anand, where the Amul cooperative was born. I have seen an interesting markers in the town called Way to Varghese Korean Enclave. Then when I was studying about Korean, a single person from 1960s or even before that impacted close to 1 million farmers and built such a huge respectable cooperative called Amul. And he could think much ahead of his time and build something like Amul in various countries, the polka dots girl campaign, very relevant marketing. Maybe many of us wouldn't have heard that a rural dairy distribution would need such kind of marketing. The brand which Amul, the respect the Amul brand today demands is very interesting. And then I went to a place called Madurai. I have seen Aravind Eye Care, Dr. V. Govindappa Venkatswamy started that organization at the age of 60 years. He used to say an interesting word: intelligence and capability are not enough. There must be joy of doing beautiful things. And he eliminated the efficiency from the cataract surgeries, where an average doctor at Aravind Eye Care can do 10,000 surgeries in a year, where normal stands at maybe 2,000 or 2,500, and at a certain quality. And he can offer patients at the affordable price point they would like. Abdul Kalam goes all the way to Aravind Eye Care and gets his eyes tested for free of cost. President of India going there at free of cost. These are the stories which actually inspired me. And there are some global figures. Warren Buffett consistently invested businesses, mentored businesses for close to 54 years, growing his wealth at 19% year on year. These are all incredible stories. When I started reflecting on it, sitting in a small town in Konicherla, Khammam district, I felt, not being arrogant, I honestly felt there is a lot more potential in me than to do this. Then I put a proper systematic hard work to it. I've started taking classes because I felt like by teaching also I can learn new things. I used to teach aptitude, used to teach reading comprehension. And one thing I understood is what they are not asking in a competitive exam like CAT is not mathematics, not English, not something. The one major thing any business leader needs is, can I solve a problem? That's the finest thing I understood, that what all are they putting before me are problems, and whether they have a problem solving attitude and a problem solving skill. When I started looking at all the competitive exams from that perspective, I started cracking them. When I went to interview, they give me context, they give me problems, and then I say the one important element I developed in myself is I'm a problem solver. You give me a problem, I don't run away, I stand there, I sit together there, and I try to solve it. For example, I cracked close to 12 interviews in various MBA colleges, entrance interviews, all niche premier colleges. IIM Ahmedabad interview has been one of the toughest interview. Why so? They tried to grill me for every solution I am offering. They were constantly telling me that you are not good at it. Not that they are doing purposefully, that's their way of testing me whether I can stand to the rigor this society asks for you, the stress certain business decisions would demand from you. All together for 30 minutes before a psychologist and a Stanford economist, I was sitting and defending and telling them this should work. This should work. And after coming out, I felt real stress. What did I do in the interview? But at the end, I understood that I have been a problem solver and I didn't run away. Or I tried to escape the situation. Or I tried to give them a non-gradable answers. So that's one thing I suggest, that everyone should come with the attitude of problem solving. And when you are passionate about doing business or managing people, MBAs are not only for doing business. For example, I quoted earlier, Harsha Bogle did his MBA, one of the finest engineering graduate. He pursued his passion and went on to become the finest commentator the cricketing world has ever seen. Rashmi Bansal has been a great writer, and an MBA from JBIMS Maniratnam has been a finance director. So these are the kind of profiles. Once you pursue passion and you have a problem solving attitude and you want to explore your full potential, I suggest doing an MBA or whatever you like to do in your life.
Great. Can you brief us the preparation tips? How can a graduate can easily get an IIMA? How can he crack the CAT? And the journey of yours from veterinary degree to IIM preparation. You have a lot of things you have done. You met a lot of people, it seems. Though you have an habit of trading and everything, the prior interests were different, I think, before getting into IIMA. So you did some Jagriti Yatra, you met a lot of businesses people. So tell me those things and the preparation tips for our viewers.
So two things. One, what actually CAT or any other competitive exam for MBA has gone through a lot of changes, but they are all, but no one touched the soul of the competitive exam. For example, mathematics, English, quantitative aptitude, and data interpretation or data sufficiency questions has remained same. If you take the quantitative aptitude, mostly the questions come from 10th class or basic mathematic background. So, for example, when I used to prepare, I felt that I am not good in two subjects, algebra and geometry, where what I can do is from very good at arithmetic, time, speed, distance questions, something to do with profit and loss. These are arithmetic questions. So what I understood is I will answer what is easy in the other two things, geometry and algebra, but I will try to excel, know every concept in arithmetic, number system, etc. This has been my strategy. And second thing is, it's like playing cricket. You should know which ball to leave and move on. If you try to hit every ball, it's time consuming, or you may get caught. There is a negative marking which is always chasing you. So I used to feel happy when I have well left questions and didn't score negative marking. So and again, this is how you have to make changes in your strategy as per your strengths and weaknesses. Third thing, I used to look at options. I used to follow a philosophy called know what to eliminate. I don't want to know the right answer. If I know what is the three wrong answers in that question, I will do it. I used to take a lot of help from going from options to the question. So three options or two options are wrong. Okay, these two I need not touch. There are two options left. One should be right in it, one should be wrong in it. So I used to follow a strategy called strategy of elimination. And then coming to English, they will have either verbal ability or reading comprehension. Coming from a very humble background, even taught grammar multiple times, I never understood the glamour of grammar. Then what I understood is I am very confident at reading comprehension. There will be 3 or 4 passages with some questions in which one will be difficult. Generally they say 2 will be medium difficulty, 1 will be very easy. So I used to identify what is the theme coming from. History, philosophy, geography, what is that question coming from. History, I am very good at it. So I can understand the pattern, how the paragraph flows. I will look at it, again the elimination strategy. I don't look at what is right, what is wrong, what is not matching with the question. Verbal ability, I will go with something which is very similar to reading comprehension, para-jumbling, some other thing, but I don't touch pure grammar because that has been my always weakness. And then coming to data interpretation, this is where I would score. I used to do a lot of practice. For example, I used to solve something like 15-20 data interpretation sets in a day. And I spent 2.5 hours because I know that when someone like Shoaib Akhtar is coming, you should actually try to keep your wicket out. That's for me geometry and algebra. And in that, a normal bowler like a normal fast bowler is coming, I will go aggressive. And on the other hand, when reading comprehension is coming, I will leave Muralidharans out, who are my grammar, and I will go for someone like easy spin bowler. And when it comes to data interpretation, it's my power play. I will go all the way, attempt every question, and I practice it so enough that in the sleep I can tell this should be the answer for this data interpretation question. So these two I will try to make cutoff, clear the cutoff, and for this I will try to improve my overall score. So for every student coming in, I have been trained students for getting into CAT or trying the interviews. For everyone I used to tell, first figure out what are your strengths. Then we will decide on what strategy we should follow. And one thing is, you can change the way you are solving the problem, but I would suggest not to change the strategies you already made a plan of. You can't change a 4th number batsman all of a sudden in a final match. So you should not, the final thing is, you should not get under pressure at any point of time. Life is much bigger, life is magical. If CAT doesn't happen this year, it will happen next year. Even it doesn't happen also, the kind of changes it brought in your mind will make you much bigger individual or much better individual than you have been when you started the preparation.
So Aravind briefed us the entrance tips for CAT exam to get into IIM, and before that also he has an interesting story that he is a good investor in stocks, equities, mutual funds. He has a lot of knowledge, and he also has a journey of this Jagruti Yatra and met a lot of business people. So most interesting things are there. Aravind, please tell us, how did you start with them and how did you get into this entrance test and how did you crack?
When I crossed 18 years of age, my father gifted me something very interesting. He gave me a demat account with 100,000 rupees in it. And he said, do whatever you want to do. And he gave me markers saying that this is how you can get the data about a economy, how to get data about the businesses, and how generally people react to a business and policy environment of a country and all of this. It was complex for me at that time to understand all of this. But I tried to understand one important thing, that money makes money. So that 100,000 rupees, I went with a motto that I should able to compound. Very interestingly, I almost lost 50 to 60% of it. That beginner's luck, which helps many people, didn't help me. India was going through, or the global economy was going through a lot of turmoil. But it also taught me that you have to survive pain when you are doing, when you have to be here in the long run and doing something bigger. Entrepreneurship is not romantic, it's very painful, but it's worth pursuing it, like investing. Then the next important thing happened in my life is Jagruti Yatra. There will be some 50-60,000 people applying throughout the country, even now. 450 people to 500 people will be selected, and they put in a train, taken all over the country, making to meet several entrepreneurs, working on developmental issues, various problems of the society. For example, I met Narayan Murthy in that, the Infosys, Narayan Murthy in that, Farinder Sharma of the earlier Red Bus. I met Nandi Foundation. I met Anshu Gupta of Gunj, who are building entire supply chain. And I understood there is various approaches to solve the problems. Business is one among them, and sustainability is a key factor. Entrepreneurship, again I repeat, is not romantic, it's painful but worth pursuing. Then I understood that I also felt there is a need of skill in it. Most of the times, even today, I understand that entrepreneurs come with a lot of dreams. Is there a roadmap? How to do this? Do you know? I still feel majority of them doesn't understand that, how to do that part. That's actually motivated me. Can I build that skill in myself, or how to do that? That actually keeps me on my toes every day, how stock market is doing, how mutual funds are doing. Because if I understand, I look at it from a perspective of finance, how the finance thing is evolving, how debt funds are evolving on one aspect. And the other aspect is, I'm also equally interested in how the marketing is evolving in this country. For example, long back, men in Indian ads are shown as a high authoritative figure who works hard outside, but when he comes home, the wife should cook for him and everything. That kept on changing in the environment. The mood of the nation changed, where men have been equally a part of household chores. This is an interesting insight. So what advertisers reveal or what marketers reveal is what happening underneath. So the Jagruti Yatra has taught me what underprivileged, what problems they are facing, and how a few very passionate people are trying to solve it. And that led me to Syngenta Foundation at later part also. And on the other hand, stock market, it tells about how businesses in a macro perspective are evolving. And my understanding of reading, marketing, helping, working with the small startups, teach me that how a big companies are made and what are the roadmaps we need to evolve. It's easy to build catamaran industries or catamaran investments for an Infosys. It's very difficult for a starter to do. There has a lot of scuttlebutt he has to do, go onto the ground. So that's one thing which has taught me, even though I went to a premier institute and all the things, I still try to understand what's happening on the ground on a day-to-day basis. The evolution I have gone because of my father, the Jagrati Yatra, and everything has helped me to do what I am doing right now.
So in your achievement, I can see keeping an aim and systematically achieving it. You have been doing it. So finally, we need two advices. One is for the young entrepreneurs, how can they achieve their small businesses? Most of the businesses, they fail a lot. Very few, they achieve it. And this is one. And number two is, what are your advices to the job seekers, career makers? How can they do it? What they should do to be in a good job and to lead a nice career life?
For entrepreneurs, I have advice like this. One, plan, learn, and be ready to fail. But when you are failing, fail faster, emerge stronger. So plan. Most of the entrepreneurs I see is they come with a dream. There is no planning. There is nothing studied. It's important to start something, but it's also important to sit, plan, understand nitty-gritties of it, and then put a roadmap and execute it. While you are executing, I understand that you need to do a lot of changes, adapt as the customer wants, adapt as the market wants. That's when your learning abilities come into picture. When someone is saying it, go, reach out to people, build networks. Don't think that you can do all of it in your small room and next Facebook or Alibaba has started. Jack Ma, when he started Alibaba, has failed for close to 9 years. He met various people, but he did it right. So it's important to learn what others are saying, and if the product you are thinking is not a market fit, you need to rethink how to make it a market fit. And at the end, after doing all of this, if you are failing, accept it. Don't try to hide below the pillow that there is no failure. Fail faster and accept the failures and emerge stronger. There is a lot entrepreneurs need to do. Entrepreneurship is not like job where you can go to office, someone is taking care of cash flows, someone is taking care of reaching out to customer, someone is raising funds. Not that. You have to do everything. You have to be that multiple stakeholder. It's a 24-hour business. You can't go home and sleep normally and still believe that business is doing well. It won't happen, at least in the earlier stages. So you have to plan, you have to learn, and you have to be ready to fail. And for the job seekers, it's important to understand what your skill sets are. In Indian context, what happens is when we are choosing graduation, even in my case, my father or my environment decided for me. It need not necessarily that you have to stick to the same thing all through your life. If your skill sets, you are a good photographer, you can be a good photographer, start with a good creative agency, something else. You can keep on skilling up. You are a good content writer, you can do that. You are a good engineer, you should go and pursue. In the earlier stages, money is not everything. If you want to be really big, you have to make sacrifices. And it's important to focus on skill development. What we know is almost nothing even after we do 10 years or 15 years of work also.
Great. So Aravind been explaining, briefing us a lot of things today for all the job seekers, entrepreneurs, his IIMA experiences and the Syngenta Foundation responsibilities. So thanks Aravind for everything. Thanks for being with us. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.